Hi, everyone. How you doing? Can you guys hear? Good. Well, I'm absolutely delighted today to get to welcome LinkedIn's in-day speaker, Anna Marie Chavez, CEO of Girl Scouts of the United States of America. Anna became the CEO of Girl Scouts last November on the eve of the Girl Scouts, get this, 100th anniversary. Pretty impressive. Looking pretty young for 100 years old. You'll have the opportunity to hear Anna's own story of transformation, as well as the work that she's doing, leading to transform the leadership of girls and young women today. Anna is the first woman of color CEO in Girl Scouts history. She graduated from Yale with a degree in history and then earned her JD, or law degree, from the University of Arizona School of Law. Yes, another lawyer. Anna spent most of her career in government service. She held numerous positions in both federal and state governments. And most recently, prior to joining the Girl Scouts, was chief of staff for the former governor of Arizona, Janet Napolitano. When Ms. Napolitano was selected by President Obama to become our Secretary of Homeland Security, Anna decided that it was time to transform her career and to serve in another capacity, the development of girls and young women. And she accepted the position of CEO of the San Antonio Council, where she served until her appointment as the national CEO. Before we get going and I turn the floor over to Anna, I have a question, which is, how many people have eaten a Girl Scout cookie prior to today? Okay, wait, let me change that. How many people haven't had a Girl Scout cookie prior to today? Okay, pretty amazing. Although not. So we're a data-driven company, right? Yeah, data-driven company. So the Northern California Girl Scout Council, of which Marina Park over here is CEO, and you'll have a chance to hear from Marina during our Q&A, serves about 48,000 girl members, and it runs from Santa Clara County all the way up to the Oregon border. And my question for you is, how many boxes of Girl Scout cookies were purchased last year? Again, data-driven. So, hands up if you think it was 1 million. Okay, hands up if you think 2. 3? 4? 5? Okay, 4.3 million boxes. Just think about that for a moment. 4.3 million of those boxes. And a guess about which is the most popular? Thin Mints. How about on a national level? Throw out some numbers in terms of how many boxes do you think were sold last year on a national level? Close. Other guesses? Someone said 250. That's slightly high. So 200 million boxes of cookies on a national level. Absolutely amazing. So anyway, today's really fun for me. Not just because I was a Girl Scout, both as a brownie and a junior, and then later on as a senior when I was in high school, but I also recently joined the board of directors of the Northern California Council. But I credit Girl Scouts with having a huge impact on my development growing up. I developed leadership skills, resiliency, and a passion of outdoors. And when asked about my favorite memories, which many people have asked me to share today, I have 2. The first memory, speaking about cookies, was roping my mom into being the cookie mom, and me getting to be the cookie sales leader when I was 10 years old. And not only did we fill our living room floor from floor to ceiling with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of boxes of Girl Scouts, but I learned how to run a small business. I learned about the math. I learned about sales skills. I learned leadership. I learned persuasion, skills that are a foundation of my success today. And the second favorite memory that I have is my passion for the outdoors. I had countless camping, canoeing, and backpacking trips. Many went off without incident, but sometimes we took left turns, and we needed to right our way, even in the Appalachian snowstorms. And Girl Scouts provided me with the foundation, the resiliency, and the confidence to be able to find my way, even when we were lost. And in fact, even today, 30 years later, I know, 30 years, 3 of my camping buddies and I stay true to the bonds that we formed in a snowstorm one evening on top of the Appalachian Mountains. Our hair was totally frozen. We get together every few years to catch up on each other's lives, even though our lives are very, very different. And most recently, this past spring, we got together in Charleston, South Carolina for 2 days of catching up and going back to those roots, to who we were. And yes, there were some Girl Scout cookies involved, and there was a sunrise hike. But today is far more about cookies and hikes. It's about what the Girl Scouts are doing to develop girls of courage, confidence, and character. We'll learn about some of the specific programs that Girl Scouts offer in our very own backyard that encourage girls to reach their full potential in science, engineering, technology, and math, commonly known as STEM, and that's what you'll hear it referred to today, STEM, as well as other professions. We'll hear from Anna about what brought her to the Girl Scouts from government and how Girl Scouts is relevant for girls today and tomorrow. And then I get to have the fun of not only introducing some of the girls who are sitting here, but also Marina Park and interviewing Anna and Marina. And then we'll turn it over to all of you for questions. So Anna?
Thank you. Thank you, Erica.
You're welcome.
Thank you. My mother worked on my bio, so I really appreciate the opportunity to share that with you. Thank you. Now, actually, I'm very excited to be here. It is a great honor to be the 19th CEO of Girl Scouts of the USA. My name is Ana Maria Chavez, or as the Girl Scouts call me, I'm Eagle One. And thank you. It's a great moniker because the girls gave it to me, and I'll tell you that story a little later. But what I really wanted to do was to tell you a bit about the Girl Scout story, but most importantly, what we're doing in innovation. You know, our girls are doing amazing things. We really see girl power on a daily basis. When you give girls the opportunity to dream big, they not only dream big, but they take other people with them. So let me tell you about a story of a little girl, 3 years old, who was in an orphanage in China. And unfortunately, she, on one hand, didn't have fingers. So when she was brought to the United States, her family who adopted her lived in Georgia and was trying to figure out how to help their wonderful new daughter. And as they researching, options, where did they go? But the internet, right? And they looked and looked and looked, and they found actually some partners that were willing to invest in new technology. And they actually built this little girl a hand, a prosthetic hand. And it was fascinating because these partners really went out of their way to research the innovation, what was going on. They talked to researchers, they talked to doctors, they talked to medical supply companies, and they found that essentially what they were looking for wasn't on the market. So guess what these people did? They got together and they invested in a solution. They went into the R&D model and they sort of figured out, okay, what are we going to do to create this prosthetic hand for this little girl? Because for the most part, companies didn't want to invest in something like this because the girl was going to grow and it would be more expensive to continue to recalibrate this hand. So ultimately, these wonderful people got together and created a hand for this little girl, which she used for the first time to write her name. Well, this group was called the Flying Monkeys. The Flying Monkeys was a troop of Girl Scouts in Ames, Iowa. And they did amazing things. And they went on, actually, to create this prosthetic hand. And they competed, actually, and they won on a global platform, beating out 200 other teams, because the Flying Monkeys was a Girl Scout robotics team. They were a robotics team. And they went on to claim a $20,000 X Prize to patent their device, which they lovingly call Bob One. You know, when I think about it, and I think about these girls, can you imagine them? I mean, little girls, just a few years older than Danielle, but they were dreaming big, and they saw no boundaries. And through Girl Scouts, had been really engaged in robotics and learning what they could do with this technology. And, for me, this story is all about hope, and hopes that girls give us on a daily basis. And for those of you who live and work in Silicon Valley, which, by the way, it's my first time here. I'm really kind of freaked out. Thank you. Very excited. I'm at LinkedIn. I have a LinkedIn page. Thank you. Thank you. Befriend me. Link me. But you know, for me, I think about these girls, the flying monkeys, and I think about the potential that's not only coming out of these wonderful girls, but what's coming out of Silicon Valley. But unfortunately, if I shared with you some other stats, you would also see why our mission at Girl Scouts is such an urgent mission. First of all, if you looked at the leadership landscape in this country, you will find that currently in Congress, only 16% of our elected officials are women. And if you look across corporate America, women occupy only 15% of the seats in boardrooms across the country, and just 3% of the top Fortune 500 companies are run by women. So again, why is this important? Well, it goes on. Women manage only 3% of all hedge funds and only 10% of mutual funds. And this even though women-owned funds significantly outperform funds in general, even during tough economic times. Interesting, here in California, women hold just 16% of the top positions in movie studios and own fewer than 6% of TV stations in the United States. And women make up only 6.5% of science advisory board members at U.S. high-tech firms, many of them based in the San Francisco Bay Area. So what does that mean for us? What does that mean as these individuals are making tough decisions for companies, for governments across the United States? Well, let me give you an analogy. Imagine this. Imagine a classroom with 50 students. Half are girls and half are boys. And the teacher walks in, and on the blackboard, the whiteboard behind her, she writes this really complicated problem that they must solve. Very tough. But before she asks them to solve the formula or the question, she asks 24 of the 25 girls to stand up and walk out of the room. And she leaves one girl and 25 boys to solve the problem on the board. That may seem ludicrous, that may seem crazy, but that's what's happening across the country on a daily basis. Girls are opting out of opportunities to bring solutions to the market, solutions to their local communities, solutions to their classrooms. So you're probably sitting there going, well, why is that? Because I know girls and they're kind of cool. I would agree with you. And there's lots to be said for girl power. So why is this happening? Well, unfortunately, as girls tell me, they go, hey, Eagle One, let me tell you why this is happening. And I say, okay, well, educate me. And they say, well, Eagle One, we can't buy what we can't see. We can't aspire to positions if they seem unattainable. If all we see, you know, in this country are males leading corporations or males in Congress or males doing all the great exciting work, then how do we know what's possible? And don't get me wrong, it's not about boys against girls or men against women. I have a very cute, intelligent husband. But the fact of the matter is, if we keep asking almost 50% of the brain power in this country to walk out of the room, who's going to help us solve these critical issues going forward for this country? And I am here to tell you that I believe the next investment Silicon Valley needs to make, can I be so audacious and so bold to tell you this? The greatest invention you can invest in today, ladies and gentlemen, is to invest in a girl. Because I've seen magic happen. Magic, when you just give girls the platform to dream big. And I'm going to tell you some stories about some girls because, again, it's wonderful to hear from their perspective what's possible, but I'm also going to tell you some more things about what people, adults, are telling them. What's interesting is, in our centennial year, 2012, we decided, instead of just, throwing a big party, that we were actually going to spend the year and the next few years creating awareness around girl issues. And so we, in conjunction with Roper Research, did a study, a national study, around girls and their perspective and attitude on leadership. And this is what the study found. Girls see a glass ceiling, absolutely. 3 in 5 girls think that women can rise in a company or an organization. So that's the good news. They believe, however, that rarely will they get promoted to the top post. And if you talk to boys and girls, they both have the same perception. It's much harder to be a girl leader, a woman leader, than a male leader. And more than 2/3 of them believe that family responsibilities weigh women down more than men as they try to move up in their careers. And not surprisingly, a vast majority of them, 81%, believe that the workplace could do a better job meeting the needs of female workers. So we know, actually, that girls want to lead. 92% of them say, put me in, coach, I want to do this. But a lot of them are saying that they're not seeing the women role models. They're not seeing them come into their schools and giving them opportunities to embrace their areas of career interests. And unfortunately, when we talk to girls, they're saying that if you talk to girls, they don't feel that they have the personal characteristics to be a leader. So why is that? Why are girls opting out of leadership? And why are they opting out of STEM careers? You know, when we look across the spectrum of the great careers they could get into as adults, science, technology, engineering, math is clearly within their range of opportunities, and it's the future of this country. And interestingly enough, when we did a study around high school girls, 74% of them said, we love STEM. We're very interested in math and science and technology. But when we asked them if they were going to rank that high in their career opportunities, actually they ranked STEM careers at almost toward the bottom of their options. So we have a disconnect. We have girls who say, yes, I love math and science and technology, but they're not seeing in the future opportunities for them to be in that career field. So again, we have a lot of work to do to encourage these girls because, again, the nation can't afford for one more girl to opt out because when they opt in, they change the world. So again, I've talked about the flying monkeys, but now I want to talk to you about the hippie pandas. Yeah, and you think I'm a little crazy talking about flying monkeys and hippie pandas, but bear with me. They're another Girl Scout robotics team, and they're from Rochester, New York. And what I loved about this particular group is that through their science and robotics competition, they developed a cheap and accessible alternative to the pasteurization process that relies on solar power and is made from aluminum foil and cardboard and a thermometer. And what made it great is it's already in use in Nicaragua, where women there experience high rates of miscarriage and disease because they drink unpasteurized milk. So if you think that girls can't make a difference or save lives, talk to the hippie pandas. They're doing it, and they're doing it for people on this globe. And so that I'm not unbiased or biased toward Girl Scouts, let me talk to you about a girl who's not a Girl Scout, but still doing great things. She's a 17-year-old. Her name is Miriam Bechtel. And Miriam learned about the problem of buried landmines around the world when she was in 8th grade. The fact that landmines injure and kill thousands of people every year really bothered Miriam. And she saw that women and children account for 30% of the casualties. So Miriam said, I got this. I got this. And she went out and developed a prototype for a new landmine detection device that uses sound waves to identify where deadly mines are buried. Her invention has earned her a $25,000 fellowship from the Davidson Institute for Talent Development. But beyond that, she's created solutions that are saving lives. So why am I talking about this? You know, why is this important for those of you here today or watching on your computers? It's because, again, we're trying to tell you that if you give a girl an opportunity, she will change the world. And as Girl Scouts, we can do this better than anybody in the world. We are the largest serving girl organization in this country. Yes, we've turned 100 years old. Yes, we have 3.2 million members. Yes, we have members in over 90 countries in this world. But this is what keeps me up at night, that there won't be Girl Scouts in 100 years. So that means that if we as adults don't embrace, whether it's Girl Scouts or another youth-serving organization that's really helping girls, how are we going to have future women leaders in this country that are going to change lives and make differences? And just look at the leadership landscape today, because we represent all demographics in this country, from left to right, all religions, all zip codes in this country. And what you're seeing on the leadership landscape is beautiful. And these are Girl Scout alums that we invested in 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago. And now they're in positions of power. in this country, making a difference. Even if you look at the current presidential cabinet, most of the female cabinet members were Girl Scouts. From Catherine Sebelius running HHS, Health and Human Services, to my former boss, Janet Napolitano, who's a lifetime member, Girl Scout till she was 18 years old. To the last 3 secretaries of state, Hillary Clinton, Condoleezza Rice, and Madeleine Albright, who just earned the Medal of Freedom from the President of the United States. And I can go on and on and on. And I can tell you, most of the women that are running the national, big corporations were Girl Scouts. So what keeps me up at night is that we can't get enough adults to invest in girls, to invest in an organization that has been creating opportunities for girls and women for 100 years. So why is that important? Well, girls need it. And unfortunately, I've been on the other side. I had the opportunity to work with girls where the system failed them, where there weren't adults encouraging them, giving them advice about the positive path to take in life, who may have fallen into hard times, whether that's drugs, whether that's, teen pregnancy. I oversaw Child Protective Services in Arizona. I used to, unfortunately, incarcerate girls in Arizona when the system had failed them, when adults had failed them. And what I see in Girl Scouts is magical. I think about my own story. But for Girl Scouts, I would not be standing before you as the 19th CEO of Girl Scouts of the USA, the first woman of color to lead this iconic organization, the first lawyer, the youngest ever, and a mother of a beautiful 10-year-old son. And the only reason I'm here is because an adult somewhere in Arizona raised their hand and said, I will invest. And they saw this little girl who had all the risk factors, saw everything stacked against her. She was poor. She was a daughter of a migrant farm worker. Everybody around her was in the same situation, but the adult said, not on my watch. Not on my watch. We're going to invest her. We're going to inspire her. We're going to give her, and not only that, as adults, we're going to step in and block it for her. We're going to push away the boundaries, the barriers, all the negative stereotypes. We're going to let her dream. This is her opportunity. And because a group of volunteers, even though they had a lot of work to do with their own families, even though they were working 2 jobs, even though there were other things they could have done, they invested in girls in my local community. And I ultimately went on to an Ivy League college on scholarship, practiced law for the President of the United States, have served 2 cabinet members and 2 governors, and now lead, I believe, the most important, iconic organization in the world. And that's because I work for girls. So will you help me with this? Because there are other Ana Chavezes out there. They're actually sitting right here in Silicon Valley. And they're sitting in their room wondering what they're going to do to change the world. And they're looking for you to step up and invest in them. Invest in them. Donate your time. Donate your treasure. Volunteer. The men in the room, I want you to start a troop with a co-leader. Yes, you can do that. Men can be Girl Scouts, 18 and above. And when I was recently in the Oval Office with the President of the United States, I had the opportunity to talk to him about Girl Scouts and take him some of our Gold Award recipients. Gold Award is the highest award you can earn in Girl Scouting. It is the pinnacle of their Girl Scout career. Only 5% of girls in Girl Scouting on an annual basis earn the Gold Award. We have a young lady here in the front row who just earned her Gold Award. She's changing lives, and what they need are more adults. So I need you to go out and talk about girls, about their issues. Why are they opting out? What can we do to change the messages on TV, on social media? So when they're sitting in their room dreaming about their future, they're drinking big, they're dreaming big, and they're changing the world one girl at a time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ana.
Thank you.
So we talk a lot at LinkedIn about transformation and transformation of careers, and our mission is to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. And we talk about in the value representation that we have for our close to 200 million members, 179 million members around the world, is matching talent with opportunity. And your words are very near and dear to our hearts because we are creating economic opportunity for everyone around the world. And as we talk about transformation and the ability to transform girls' and women's lives and people's lives, because transforming anyone transforms all of us. My question to the two of you, before we get into details about how is it that we at LinkedIn might be able to help the Girl Scouts, is neither of you took linear paths to your CEO roles. How did you land where you landed?
Go first, Marina.
Okay, I'll go first. So I'm Marina Park. I'm the CEO of Girl Scouts of Northern California. I joined Girl Scouts after a 25-year career in law. Even before I became a lawyer, I didn't really know I wanted to be a lawyer. I worked for 2 years after undergrad, went to law school. One thing led to another. I was the managing partner in law school. And I have been asked this question, and I think it resonates with Girl Scouts. I think it resonates with LinkedIn as well. And it's really knowing what your values are and being true to those values. And I really identified along the course of my career where I changed the kind of law that I practiced, from litigation to technology transactions to becoming the managing partner of a big law firm going into management. But kind of a couple things that were really central to me. I wanted to do work I found really interesting. I wanted to look forward to going into work every day. I wanted to work with people that I respected and was learning from every day. I wanted to have time for my family. So those were real priorities that for the first 25 years of my career really guided it. And then I have to say that there was kind of a point where as I got older, I added something else to it. I wanted to have an impact. And I felt like I had the impact I could have at my firm. We'd done a lot around flex time. We'd made the top of the Working Mother magazine list for law firms. I'd sort of felt like I'd done what I could do there, and I really saw a need through my law firm career to create a leadership landscape for men and women that was going to work better for them going forward, and that's really what drew me to Girl Scouts. So it was a non-linear path, but it was informed by pretty constant values.
And another lawyer.
Yes,
yes. Another lawyer, but no longer practicing.
you see a theme here.
Yeah, I know. All three of us, yeah.
Well, actually, I thought going to Girl Scouts was actually the next step. I've been in public service all my career, and I loved it. Unfortunately for my husband, who's always saying, "Come on, Anna," because absolutely, as a lawyer, you could be at a firm billing, wonderful hours. But people know that I love helping people. I give, and my parents raised me to do that. I always wondered why people were always in our kitchen at 10 o'clock at night, and they were always solving problems for their people. And I'm like, why do people always come to our house with their problems and wake me up in the middle of the night? And my mother said to me, "Anna, to those that much is given, much is required." And so for me, leaving government and moving into Girl Scouts made sense, especially because I'm a data person like all of you here, and I saw the data around girls. And we had to do something about it. And so I went to San Antonio, Texas, saying, we have to do something about it. And I guess we created enough stir that people noticed. And we were doubling our membership, and people were investing in girls. And I wanted to continue that at the national level.
Fantastic. Thank you for the work that both of you are doing, because it makes the world a better place for all of us. We know that role models are very important, and you spoke personally about the value of the role model that you had in your life. And I'm sure many of us have similar stories, perhaps not as gut-wrenching. But as we take a look throughout not just Silicon Valley, but also the world at large, can you discuss the role that volunteers and adults in general can play in helping girls develop their careers to be able to see the possibilities of what they can achieve in STEM, but also other leadership positions?
Sure. Well, I'll start from a national perspective. Right now, we only serve 8% of girls ages 5 through 17. So imagine if we just doubled the market share to 16, how many girls we could serve. And I'll tell you that I could literally go on the street corner. My staff would not permit this, but if I went out and put up a sign, "Do you want to be a Girl Scout?" I'd get 100 girls in one day, just in this area to be Girl Scouts. But here's the sad part. If I don't get adults to step up at the same time to volunteer to support their leadership journey, I can't serve those girls. So it's actually not a problem of finding girls. We can find girls and they want to be Girl Scouts. It's how do we connect with wonderful adults who want to invest in these girls in time and energy. And also, we also are creating a system where it's more flexible for you to join. And I know you laugh because I said the men should join Girl Scouts, but the reality is we need everybody to be around the table. You know, and whether you don't want to be a troop leader, but you guys are really smart here at LinkedIn and really focus on technology, wouldn't it be fun and amazing to partner with you? And you could start a series teaching girls about science and technology or potential career paths or how to do the things you do on a daily basis. So maybe it's just one event a year that you do with us, but you're impacting hundreds of girls. And because you have a national, international presence, right?
We do.
We're in 92 countries. It's a match made in heaven.
And we're in over 200 countries.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
There you go.
Marina, do you want to talk about some of the local programs that exist, for whether it's the Space Cookies or the Girls Go Tech programs?
Yeah, sure, I'd be happy to. We've got 2 of our Space Cookie members sitting in the front row
Raise your
here.
hands.
Yeah, raise your hands, you guys.
Space Cookies.
So, yay.
What are Space
Okay,
Cookies?
so the Space Cookies are a high school robotics team. I got a note from some of your team leaders the other day. There are 41 girls that are going to be participating this year, and they come from 17 high schools around the Bay Area. So it's a really good example of creating opportunities for girls. We have amazing volunteers out of NASA, thus Space and Cookies, where the girls design and build their robots and do everything necessary to compete at a national level in robotics competitions. So in the first robotics competitions. So I know we've got some Girl Scout volunteers in the room. Raise your hands. Yeah. So thank you, all of you, because we can't do what we do without volunteers. We have in just Northern California as an example, we have about 48,000 girl members. We have 150 staff. And we have 31,000 volunteers, just pretty amazing. So everything we do is really because of volunteers. And volunteers do everything from pretty much dedicate their lives to volunteering for Girl Scouts to maybe a couple hours a year, but where they can have a real impact. And that's part of what brought me to Girl Scouts. I was volunteering for a program that we do called Camp CEO when I was still in my business career. We bring girls from maybe less well-served communities to camp, high school girls to connect with women executives and have that opportunity, which sort of feeds into that whole role model conversation. We try to bring to Camp CEO this past summer, we had 70 girls and 30 mentors, try to bring women executives from a whole range of careers so that the girls have the opportunity to connect with them. In our STEM programs, the research really shows that for girls, more than anything, they need not only the opportunity to work in STEM, but hands-on experiences aren't enough. They need to have role models. They need to have women they can talk to and find out not only what they did in their careers, but that they have real lives and that they're real people. And that's really, really important to girls. So we look for all the opportunities we can to connect with men and women who can talk with girls about careers in STEM. And we bring girls on field trips to companies in Silicon Valley. We have always looking for partners to come and help troop leaders do STEM programs, to do career days, to coach our robotics teams. So it's a big part of what we do. And I'm going to point to Jean Fay. Wave your hand, Jean, in the back of the room. Jean oversees all of our tech programs and is always looking for volunteers, whether it's for 1 hour or 1 year. Right? So,
thank you. Could you share some of the success stories? I know that you have shared with me that the women or the girls who are involved in the Space Cookies, for instance, and what their college careers look like. At LinkedIn, we've made huge investments in hiring college interns because we understand that the future of our company is getting the brightest minds coming out of college in the STEM fields.
So what grade are you guys in high school?
11.
11 and 12. So are you guys looking ahead to college? Okay, so are you thinking you'll go into science, technology, engineering, or math? Okay, so how about you, Anna?
I'm not very specific yet, but yeah, I'm looking forward to going into some kind of engineering
Okay, so we have Anna is one of our space cookies, looking forward to going into engineering. And how about you?
I was looking into going into biomedical engineering.
Okay, so engineering and biomedical engineering, and that's actually consistent with what we find with the space cookies. All of the space cookie graduates so far, it's been in existence for 7 years, so I think we have 31 girls now who've graduated and gone on to college. All of them have gone on to STEM degrees, with the exception of 2, according to their mentors, and one went into architecture and the other one went into international economics. And I
think
actually
that
kind of think of
counts.
that as like math
I think that
and
counts.
engineering. They're pretty close. But what I've really loved is talking with the girls who don't always say that's what they thought they wanted to do when they started out on the team. But after 3 years of participating in the team, they might have actually come in to help with doing fundraising or web design development, something like that. They really get excited and find out, wow, this is fun. It's something I can do. They have opportunities to work with incredible mentors and role models. I think it's an example of how creating those kinds of team-based opportunities for girls can really make a difference in shaping their futures.
Yeah, the shaping of the futures really is incredibly powerful, and we all have the ability to do that. We also probably all have in ourselves some type of stereotype as well. And sometimes those stereotypes end up being inhibitors to girls opting out, as you were talking about. And so can you talk about some of those stereotypes and what Girl Scouts is doing to try to overcome those barriers, and what we all here at LinkedIn can do to knock down those barriers?
Sure. Well, you know, when you talk about stereotypes, I think it's just stereotypes in general in local communities, national perspectives around, you know, what is the role of a girl and what is the role of a woman? And, you know, just because I was audacious at the age of 10 to say, I'm going to change the world and I'm going to become an attorney, you know, I think we should allow people to decide what they want to do. And I really talk to a lot of people around, really, let's allow the girls to make the decision. If they want to be a CEO of a company or CEO of their house or their home, let's give them that opportunity, but let's not create those barriers. And I think for a lot of us who work with youth across the country, what we hear from the girls is, you know, we want to learn, yes, but we want to have fun. We forget that. These are girls, you know, and so sometimes we come with this stereotype that, you know, life is hard and you've got to do things at this high level all the time. Well, they're developing as human beings. Let's give them opportunities to try different things, so at the end of the day, you know, whether they like STEM or robotics, they may want to be a fashion designer or, you know, run her own TV station. Ultimately, that's what Girl Scouts does. It creates a very safe environment. It's girl-led, girl-focused. They are supported by amazing adults who are sharing their knowledge and their passion for what they do. And ultimately, the girls decide, you know, what they want to go to. And I think that's the powerful message around girls these days. Give them the opportunity. They will make great decisions.
And you can do anything.
Anything.
Anything that you want.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think, you know, the other thing that we've done is helping girls identify what a stereotype is actually a really important thing. And so we have a lot of program around helping girls become more media literate and identifying some of the insidious things out there that they're looking and experiencing and being subjected to that might be pigeonholing them into stereotype categories. And what's been interesting in conversations with the girls about it is they say, you know, if we're being stereotyped in this way, the boys are being stereotyped too. It's not fair to any of us that these stereotypes are being kind of imposed on us by media and culture. So just giving them a safe place to have that conversation. And then very exciting and in keeping with the Girl Scout way, okay, you've had that conversation, you've identified it, how are you going to take action and take that conversation back to your high school? Because as they've identified, it's not enough just to be talking about it within the room, and so really empowering girls to make a change around those things. Great.
I want to be able to make sure that we have time to open it up to questions from the audience, but just a couple of other quick questions that I want to make sure that we have a chance to cover. One is about the company group that Girl Scouts has set up. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure.
And it's a LinkedIn group and opportunities for volunteering, whether it's for an hour or as a troop leader on a more committed basis.
Yeah. So just Girl Scouts of Northern California on LinkedIn. One of our challenge is always figuring out how to match up volunteers with the opportunities that we have. And we'll get business cards at an event like this or sign-ups, but then how do you connect with people around the event that's coming up? And so how to use technology to improve that? And we thought, what better way than LinkedIn? Because you're in the business of matching up people with opportunities that strike their fancy and meet their skill set, or help them develop a new skill set. So we're going to really start encouraging people to follow us in Girl Scouts of Northern California, or join us on Girl Scouts of Northern California, so we can start pushing out to a professional audience the kinds of volunteer opportunities that we have. And examples of them might be, we've got Camp CEO coming up. We're looking for a range of executives in different professions, and here are the dates it'll be. We have a career day coming up, and we've held them regularly at NASA Ames, and they're awesome. I think we get 1,500 girls there exploring all different areas of STEM careers, and so we're always looking for volunteers for those events. We might need someone to help out a robotics competition for 3 hours. So pushing those kinds of opportunities out, leading discussions around a movie screening of misrepresentation and media stereotypes. So a real range depending on people's skill sets. So join us as Girl Scouts of Northern California, and we figure, we're better to see if we can get that to start taking shape than at LinkedIn. So we're excited about the technology that you guys are building to help us, make the world a better place. So thank you, LinkedIn.
Well, you're more than welcome, and thank you for using LinkedIn as the platform for the innovation of pushing out volunteer opportunities.
We're excited, and we've got 30,000 volunteers in Northern California. You can imagine, I think 800,000 around nationally. So we'll pilot it here and share best practices.
We'll help make it successful.
Yeah, I know.
If you have questions, why don't you come on up to the podium? But as we're talking about LinkedIn, one of the traditions that we have at LinkedIn, since you are both members of LinkedIn and now members of our network, is that we share a special talent or a skill, or perhaps share an animal noise or animal sound with everyone. And so I don't know if there's perhaps something special in your pasts that you haven't shared with us yet today, or isn't on your LinkedIn profile, but...
Ooh, wow, well, do you want to, I'll go first.
Okay.
I'm adventurous. What a lot of people don't know, but I have an eclectic background, but I've flown an F-16 fighter pilot jet.
You actually flew it,
I piloted it. I piloted it, and
Did you land it?
Wasn't allowed to.
Oh, okay, but
wasn't
it didn't
allowed to,
okay.
but it didn't go down. I may have gone over into Mexico accidentally for a split second, but yes.
International.
I'm not claiming that. This is being taped.
That gets deleted from YouTube,
yes,
please.
Thank you. And I've flown in. I used to fly in Black Hawk helicopters.
Wow.
Yes, I had a wonderful career.
So that was part of...
I was actually the civilian military advisor to the governor of Arizona, and so I was her military attaché to the Adjutant General of the National Guard in Arizona, so helped stand up troops on the border. And of course, we had deployed a lot of National Guard members from Arizona to Iraq and Afghanistan. Was also involved in emergency management, so helped stand up, situation issues, offices, and anytime there was a catastrophe, I was with the military individuals, sort of being that go-between between the governor and the military officials. So much respect for the men and women who serve this country. Amazing people who are doing great things for this country. And so, as an honor, they let me fly a jet. It was pretty cool.
And you went over Mach speed? Is that?
I will say that I went at least 4 Gs, and I claim to fame. Yes, thank you very much.
I'm envious. That sounds like a blast.
Yeah, it was great.
Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
We also, speaking of veterans, at LinkedIn, we have a phenomenal amount of respect for veterans, and in fact, we hosted President Obama when he kicked off his Jobs Act.
Wonderful.
And, for his town hall just down here at the Computer History Museum. And one of the things that we did was to donate premium subscriptions or free subscriptions to the vets who were job seekers. So
that's
something that we're really proud of.
That's great. That's great.
As well as the vets that we have here at LinkedIn.
It's wonderful.
Anna?
Marina.
Marina, I'm sorry.
I'll pick one that's kind of the opposite of Anna's, because Anna described something really fast. I'm going to describe something really slow. So I sailed from Hawaii to San Francisco on a 40-foot sailboat that had no engine, no refrigeration or any of that, and no toilet.
Was that voluntarily?
And, yeah, did you
Yeah,
leave
like
that?
voluntarily.
Yeah. And
She lost a big bet.
yeah, we got up into the Pacific High and we literally just drifted backwards for, that's, you know, when we see the weather report and there's the big round circle of good weather, there's no wind in there. So we just kind of drifted backwards towards Japan for about a week, and then we kind of drifted forwards again. And it was still the days when you could find like lots of glass fishing balls out, and we just kind of scooped them up, and it was long. So
How did you get food on that?
We
Where-
caught a lot of fish.
Caught a lot of fish,
and
okay.
we had beans on board, and we'd sprout them, and we ate bean sprouts and fish.
That's a lot of bean sprouts.
And we had one box of Bisquick on board. We did have a little stove thing that we could kind of cook stuff on, but we were like, so they had pictures of strawberry shortcake on it, and so we had to put tape around the outside of the box because we really needed, you know, strawberry shortcake. We didn't have it, so it was definitely.
I think we needed some of those boxes down
Yeah,
there.
I know, really. We would have died for a Girl Scout cookie box. So anyway, it was much slower than Anna's experience, but it was one of those kinds of experiences in life that definitely gave me a lot of time to, you know, reflect, and it was a great experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything, but probably wouldn't do it again either.
Wise move.
Some of our best experiences in life are had once. I did a bicycle ride across the country that
Yeah.
many of you have heard about.
Yeah.
I'll share the details, but same idea.
Yeah.
Same idea.
Another
and I'm
slow
sure that
one.
taught
Another
you
slow-
some
yeah.
resiliency
Yeah.
as well. So questions, open it up.
Hi, I'm Marissa, and I was a Girl Scout. I totally credit Girl Scouts with a lot of things.
Share what you do at LinkedIn.
I'm a user experience designer here at LinkedIn, and I'm the lead designer for our homepage, which is going through a huge overhaul right now. So I had a question. You talked about stereotypes for girls and then stereotypes for boys. I actually hear two stereotypes about Girl Scouts, and I'm wondering if you have a quick, 30-second, 1-minute answer for how to respond, because I never agree with these. One is all they do is push girls to sell cookies. That's one. And the second is kind of this feeling of, oh, Girl Scouts, it's so old. It's all about actually pushing down girls to be like all about, just stay in the home and you learn how to cook and which actually I learned how to bake an apple pie in Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
It's
I did too.
amazing.
Yeah.
So not a bad skill to have, but just that kind of feeling of it's, oh, that must be an old organization. They actually aren't up with the times and are actually holding women down. And if you want to be an awesome woman, you shouldn't join Girl Scouts. You should be doing things that are co-ed or in your school or things like that. So.
Okay, so the first one, repeat your question again. So one was the
push
stereotype
cookies.
about pushing cookies, and the other one was an outdated program.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how do you respond to that quickly? Because
Okay, quickly, in less than a minute.
Yeah. 'Cause otherwise
first
they get
of
bored and
all,
walk away.
the cookie program, we embrace the cookie program. It is the largest entrepreneur program for girls in this country. They raise $760 million every year, which they reinvest back in their local communities. I don't get a penny in New York.
So 100% of the
100%
sales of the
sales
boxes
stays in the local community. So
That's
where you
huge.
buy it, that's where it stays. Now, what is interesting, and Maria can give you the statistics here in the local community area, we have 112 Girl Scout councils across the country. So Marina is a fabulous CEO of Northern California Girl Scouts. Well, she has 111 counterparts. And they're all working with the volunteers across the country to facilitate this amazing cookie program. And I will tell you that, bar none, every successful woman that I've met who was a Girl Scout will tell you that she learned her entrepreneurial business skills selling cookies in Girl Scouts. You're right. I mean, talk about being 8 years old and having to go up to a stranger and say, buy my product. And not only that, you need 2 boxes, and I'll tell you why. And give me your email while you're at it so I can get you on my marketing list so the next year you can pre-order. Okay? And then what's the list of your family names, because I need to go knock on their doors too. They're very progressive. And not only that, what the girls are also telling us, and women who eventually sold the cookies will tell you that they got really innovative ideas, putting their cookie program together, because ultimately they were not doing it just to sell cookies and make money. They were doing it with an end cause in mind. they're passionate about issues. And most of the girls that are sitting here who've sold cookies will tell you that they spent their cookie revenue in other organizations in their local communities. So whether they're investing back in other nonprofits like the animal shelters, girls love animals because they're supporting your animal shelters. They're the congregate meal sites, senior centers, you know, the food pantries, your local parks. I talk about our girls as a silent green army. You know, so yes, you're investing, and the average American invests $8 worth of cookies money every year. And thank you so much for doing that, because you're giving these girls an opportunity to save lives, they're investing in their future, and they're also supporting the local Girl Scout councils by supporting the camps that they go to, supporting the staff that is actually providing the program experience for girls. As far as outdated, just spend 1 minute with the current Girl Scout and you will know it is not an outdated program. I work for girls. They come into my office all the time in New York City. I've got 6-year-olds telling me how to run better spreadsheets. They tell me, Eagle One, come on, you need to do something around robotics, or Eagle One, you know, we need digital photography and digital filmmaking. Eagle One, I need more opportunities to work on recycling programs for my community. Eagle One, I need an e-commerce platform for my cookie program. So as far as a stereotype of Girl Scouts being outdated, no, I've got 2.3 million Girl Scouts telling me to be hip and cool and stay with the girls. So I will tell you, we are running at girl speed because the girls are magical and they want to do great things.
A couple of other quick statistics. We said 16% of members of Congress are women. 70% of those were Girl Scouts. 80% of women-owned businesses were Girl Scouts. I think you mentioned Condoleezza Rice,
yes.
Hillary Clinton,
yes.
Marissa Mayer,
yes.
Meg Whitman. I mean, the list goes on and on. So if you look at women leaders today,
yes.
oftentimes they had Girl Scouts as a foundation.
Yeah. How many of you read Fast Company magazine? I would think most of you do. I mean, it's an innovation mag. It's fabulous, right? I've been reading it for years. Christine, who is the editor-in-chief, Girl Scout Gold Award recipient. Literally, when the first time I met her, she actually put on her Girl Scout vest. She was so proud. Her mother was standing there going, yes, I sewed those on. You know? And Christine tells me she's running a major magazine with innovation and great stories, and she says she learned her business skills selling Girl Scout cookies. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Mike, part of the business development team. Thank you for coming and thank you for bringing the cookies.
Absolutely.
You mentioned that you guys are in 92 countries, and I'd love to get your insight on kind of when you travel to different countries, how is Girl Scouts adopted? Do you see one country kind of really creating a different kind of landscape for women? Is one progressing further than the United States? Or what can you, insights or things that are interesting in your travels have you seen in all the countries that Girl Scouts is in?
Well, wonderful. I've only been the national CEO for 10 years.
10 months.
10 years, going on my 10th year. But I did get the opportunity to go to Scotland last year to represent the United States at the World Congress of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts. We belong to an international organization called the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts, and so we're part of 145 country membership. And what I saw were, you know, amazing girls from other countries that are called Girl Guides, or they may be called something else in Denmark. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the issues impacting girls are the same globally. Obviously, some of the issues impacting girls, you know, let's say in Africa, health issues impacting them are much more austere and much more serious, life-threatening health issues. And so their community service projects, what they're focused on may be something very different than girls are working on here. But what I love to see anytime I see girls coming together, and we just hosted a group of girls in Chicago from 75 countries in this world, and we paired up the American Girl Scouts with their counterparts from other countries, and they took on amazing, bold, audacious goals to reduce and eradicate poverty, to help girls attain educational excellence. And so when they get together globally, they're thinking about the impact they can make, not only for other girls, but for other adults in this world. So what I love about, again, working for this organization is we have Girl Scouts. So to be a Girl Scout, you have to be, you know, having lived here in the United States, or let's say you're a daughter of someone that works at the embassy in France, or your mother is in the military, you know, serving in Okinawa. So you're living abroad, but you are still an American Girl Scout. So that's why we have them in over 92 countries.
Great. So Thank you so much. Thanks for
you.
the question.
No question.
We're running out of official time. We certainly can stay later, although I know that you have a very busy afternoon if there's other questions. I would like to thank the both of you very, very much for coming and visiting us at LinkedIn, and also just for the work that you're doing to ensure that more girls and women will have the opportunity and will be engaged in leadership positions in science and technology, as well as other professional careers, be it company leaders, be it teachers, be it senators, President of the United States, and entrepreneurs. And so, again, on behalf of LinkedIn, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd also like to give a thanks to the girls who've come today.
Yes.
I know that you had a tour of our NOC and some of our other areas, so thank you for all that you're doing.
Yes.
Dream big.
Yes.
And then, of course, this event didn't happen by itself, and there's a number of folks who really just made it go as smoothly as possible. So to Christy Rossi, Dana Allen and the Girl Scout staff, as well as some of our team members, Brooke Lopez, Aaron Hoslick, Marianne Viegelman, Courtney Munez, and our amazing facilities team and the AV team. So again, thank you.